States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brenda, would you do the roll call, please?
Director Klein-Jerome?
Here.
Director Posted?
Here.
Director Potts?
Here.
Director Barnes?
Here.
Director Hayes?
Here.
Director Ward?
Here.
Director Beck?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Director Poston, would you please read the mission and vision statement?
The Davenport Community School District is dedicated to growing excellence in academics, the arts, and athletics for every child by ensuring the highest quality education in an environment shaped by our diverse community, preparing our students to be lifelong learners and productive citizens. Vision statement: education that challenges conventional thinking, prepares all students to compete in a global society, and inspires our students, parents, and staff and community to answer the question, what if?
Guiding principles, Director Beck.
Opportunity. We provide abundant opportunities to empower students to reach their full potential academically, creatively, and socially. Collaboration. We foster an environment that allows students, families, and community stakeholders to come together for the betterment of our students' education and future. Transparency. We share relevant and important information with our students, families, and the community to maintain open and productive communication.
Superintendent Schneckloff, the goals.
Today's goal is goal number 4, foster the innovative use of facilities, finances, and staff.
Thank you. Okay, next up is a public hearing for approval of the 95% plans and specs for Central North and West Facilities Renovation Project. I will now conduct a public hearing for approval of the 95% plans and specifications for the Central Northwest High School Facilities Renovation Project. Notice of the hearing was published in the Quad City Times on April 14th, 2025. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please step forward to the microphone or call 1-312-626-6799 and enter meeting ID 992-9815-1193 and passcode 038311. State your name and address for the record. Anybody? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I now declare the public hearing closed. May I have a motion and a second?
Madam President,
Director Beck.
I move the board approve the plans and specifications for the Central North and West High Schools Facilities Renovations Project as shown in the 95% plans and specifications.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions?
Madam President.
Director Poston.
Josh, could you just roughly outline what's all involved in those projects again?
So at North, there is like graphics and painting and some fixing up going on inside their field house. At West, there is some hitting areas being added behind the bleachers in the gymnasium. And at the main field house, there's a large amount of renovations going on as far as the HVAC goes. To get that in working order, we're adding locker rooms and storage areas for tennis, soccer, baseball, football, and adding hitting facilities within that building across the road from Brady Street Stadium where this building is located. We'll also be re-siding it, covering it, tuck pointing the building, so it'll look really nice from the outside as well.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, this will be a roll call vote. Director Barnes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Poston.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Ward.
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Next up is student board reports. Not sure I guess there's 3 of you.
Hello, Jackson Martin. The first part from West is West has exceeded the ISAP testing completion rate already today, and we are just on day 2 of makeups. And then at the end of term 3, we have had our highest rate of passing grades from last year and this year.
More about West. We have prom on Saturday, and that was a huge success. Everybody had a lot of fun. And then Nolan Dempsey placed 15th at Drake Relays in the shot put, and Brady Bells placed 20th in the 110 high hurdles. So, and that's out of the whole entire state. So we were really excited and proud of them.
Hey, North and Central had their prom or after prom at TBK, and that was super fun. It's cool that everything's free. You can just do stuff. Our Joy Club is doing went to Buffalo on Friday for like a children's play night. I don't know, it was like elementary school thing. So, and that was fun. Then we're gonna make blankets on Friday for the homeless shelter. So that's gonna be cool.
Thank you. And I'd also like to say congratulations on your scholarship going. That was pretty cool. Next up is athletic recognition. Superintendent
Thank you.
Schneckloff.
It's that time of year. We have some outstanding presentations tonight from our athletic teams and our athletic directors and coaches. It's one of our favorite nights of the year. I'll turn it over to our district athletic director, Dave Shovelin. Before we do that, at the end, all the athletes that are still here, we're going to take a picture with the school board at the ends. So make sure you stick around. And if you got to run to go to practice, I totally understand that as well. But we are looking forward to hearing about all of our wonderful athletic recognitions from the fall and winter sports. So, Mr. Shovelin, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time to come out and celebrate what we had is a very good fall and winter seasons. We're right in the midst of the spring, starting to get some award, as we heard. Bradley did really well at Drake, as well as some Central runners did as well, and we'll come to celebrate them at the end of the year. Hopefully we'll have some state champions there working on that. So do appreciate the opportunity to celebrate these athletes. Unfortunately, when you're an athlete, you're a multi-sport athlete, and we have many events going on tonight. So we will be missing some of those participants, but we definitely want to make sure we still honor them. They're very highly sought after. Some of them are already started college already and on their football field. So we'll talk about that as well. I did want to start real quick, just kind of outlining how our middle school season went this year. We had great numbers in terms of participation. We did a great job with making sure everything was working properly and kids were getting better. I did throw up there the sports that we do offer just to kind of remind you. We do have 3 district level teams that are all one, as well as a couple that are co-ed. So we have 2 winter seasons in the middle school. So you can, as a girl, you can wrestle and play basketball in different seasons, and then those seasons then flip-flop. So the boys can do it as well. So to make that go, I really was hoping to introduce the middle school athletic directors because they work their tails off every day. I did put them up there, but they are at a track meet trying to get it in right now. 3 schools are at Brady and 2 are at North. So they are battling the weather, and hopefully everything is okay as we walk in the room, and they're having a solid track meet, building for the future. So at Smart, we have Vicki Heskett. If we could just go back real quick. Vicki Heskett is at Smart, Lance Bowery at Sudlow, Dave Huntley at Walcott, Sarah Klinger at Williams, and Christine Toft at Wood. So those are kind of our coaches. One coach I did hope to have here today was Tylen Johnson. He was not able to make it. He's our 7th grade group boys basketball coach at Sudlow. In my job, you get a lot of phone calls. Not all of them are positive about situations that go on with middle school athletes. I had 7 complete phone calls on the behavior and the attitude that was exuded by our 7th grade boys basketball team at Sudlow. And they won games. It wasn't like they showed up and everybody felt bad for them and they didn't compete. They competed as hard as anyone and got some wins, got some losses. But I had calls from bus drivers, opponents, game workers. I had custodians that called and on the behavior of those boys and the expectations that the coach set for them and the model that he provided for them is outstanding. So Coach Tylen, I wish he could be here. He definitely deserves a pat on the back for a great season. Coaching middle school is tough, and he managed it better than a lot of people can. So looking to continue to add coaches like himself to increase our programs and build that future for our North, Central, and West. Before I turn it over you can flip now for me, Brenda. Before I turn it over to our ADs to kind of present their own, I don't want to steal their glory. Here's kind of just some highlights real quick for you of what we accomplished as a program. One thing I did want to highlight, the state union and the state association for boys and girls offer seven winter sports for boys and girls. Of that, Davenport placed 6 of them at the state tournaments in 6 of those 7 sports. That's probably one of the better in the Quad Cities. Our basketball team was the only one that did not make it. But when I say did not make it, they played in the sub-state finals too, so we almost had 2 representatives for the boys basketball, and that would have been all 7 sports that represented Davenport at the state competitions. That's what we're looking for, character and winning. So congratulations to those and all the programs. Also, I want to make sure I hit on a little bit. That doesn't include cheer and dance, which you're going to hear about. We consider that a sport. It's not a sanctioned sport in the state, but we consider it a sport because they're hard-working, dedicated young men and women that are really doing good things and competing in the world of cheer and dance. So we will be honoring them like they are a sport because they have state championships and state accolades and that as well. So I don't want to steal any more glory because the hard work's done at the building. So I'm going to invite Kevin Peterson, our athletic director from Central, to step up, and he'll go through his athletes and teams. And any athlete, do you want them just to step up here? Okay, I'll let Kevin go ahead and take over. So I'll let Kevin jump up here.
All right, thank you again for inviting us tonight. This is a great thing. If we could have all the Central coaches and athletes come on up. I know it's going to be a little tight, but we'll get you all up at once so we don't waste time calling each sport at a time. It's a good problem to have, not to have enough room for them all. TJ, why don't you bring them out here? Oh, there you go. Lead the charge. Everybody.
Oh, everybody?
Have them all come out here. Just make a line, TJ. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each sport. Athletes and coaches, when I call your name for what you've done, kind of step forward so everyone knows exactly who you are. Scoot a little more, TJ. All right. All right, the first sport we're going to recognize is girls swimming. Unfortunately, a lot of them are on the track team as well. So there won't be too many here, along with Coach Ramsey Venz, who's not here as well. She couldn't make it tonight. The first one we want to honor is Olivia Hopewell. She was first team all-conference in both the 200 and the 500 freestyle, and she also broke the school record in the 500 freestyle. Congratulations, Olivia. And then we also had a huge group of state qualifiers. If you're here, please step forward. In the 200 medley relay, we had Mia Nelson, Izzy Hansen, Gabby Hansen, and Lauren Valeroy. And I think they're all in track. In the 200 freestyle, we had Olivia Hopewell and Katie Thiessen. In the 50 free and the 100 free para, we had Phoenix Jackson, and she finished 3rd place in both of those. Congratulations, Phoenix. In the 500 freestyle, we had 2 participants. We had Lauren Valeroy and then Olivia Hopewell, and she finished 8th place and broke her own school record again. In the 200 freestyle relay, we had Katie Thiessen, Olivia Hopewell, Mia Nelson, and Lauren Valeroy. And in the 400 freestyle relay, we had Katie Thiessen, Olivia Hopewell, Gabby Hansen, and Lauren Valeroy. The next sport we'd like to honor, we have Coach Berg and our 2 football players here. First one for running back, first team all-district, Carson Williams, step forward. And for first team all-district linebacker, Charlie Edlin. The next sport we're going to honor is our boys cross country. We have our state qualifier banner here. We had 2 boys qualify for state. And also first team all-MAC was Zach Ryan. The team itself had one of its highest finishes in recent history, finishing 3rd in the MAC. And then both Ryan brothers, Zach and Tyler Ryan, both qualified for state. The next sport we want to honor is our girls cross country team, and I really wish they weren't all in track because I wish they were here because they had an amazing season. The team itself finished 2nd in the conference this year, only behind Pleasant Valley. We had 2 all-conference and state qualifying individuals. Jolie Sullivan finished 3rd, and Dylan Moeller finished 5th. And due to that second place performance and how hard they ran at MAC, the whole team qualified for the state for the first time in 25 years. Thank you, TJ. Members of that team were Sloan Moeller, Ellie Hubel, Olive Kaplan, Elise Van Howe, Cameron Schumpert, Dylan Moeller, and Jolie Sullivan. We'll move on to our winter sports now. First off, boys bowling. He couldn't make it tonight, but Cody Lorenzen was an individual state qualifier. And our girls bowling team keeps surprising everyone at districts and qualified themselves and finished 8th at state. So you guys can step forward. I know there's only 2 of you here. We have Coach Wendy Allen. Members of the team were Jalen Gold, Mackenzie Gold, Rachel Nord, Hayden Hurt, Kaylee Jacquez, London Colin, and Kara LaGrange. We did have 1 first team boys basketball player, first team all conference. If you want to step forward, Carter Light. And just to recognize Coach Troy Mullenberg and the team, they also finished 3rd in the MAC this year. Next up, we have our dance team and Coach Addie Flynn. If you were a part of this team, step forward, and then when we do the individuals, you guys can step forward. They went to the state competition and also the national competition. At the state competition, they were state champions of Class 8 hip hop. Step forward if you're on that. Okay, step back. They were 2nd place Class 3 kick. Step forward if you're on that. Just going to stay forward. They were 3rd place Class 13 pom. And then we also had 2 soloists at place. 10th place Class 10 solo KJ Wright. And the state champion Class 10 solo Trey Gordon. We also had an excellent showing at nationals. We made 5th place medium varsity hip hop. Step forward if you're on that, which is pretty much all of you. 8th place large varsity kick. 14th place large varsity pom. We had a solo finalist, Matilda Mancha. We had 10th place in the solo, KJ Wright. And 5th place in the nation solo, Trey Gordon. Next, we'll move on to boys swimming. I know we have one here. Where's he at? Oh, there he is. But the other one couldn't make it because he's at a tennis meet tonight. So, first team all MAC. We'll start with the one that's not here. In the 200 individual medley, Bodie Logsden. And then first team all MAC in the 100 and the 200 freestyle, Charlie Jacobs. And as well as being first team all MAC, Charlie Jacobs also made state in the 200 freestyle. Congratulations. And we'll finish up with a couple of our wrestlers. I don't see them here tonight. But we had Colin Frost, battled hard on that weekend and ended up finishing 8th place. Colin's the one on the left. And then on the right, we have Brogan Ganshert, who also only as a sophomore qualified for state as well. As you can see, we have a large number of representatives from Central High here tonight. We want to keep this rolling. We've had a good few years, and we want to keep going. Congratulations again to all of you. Keep working hard. Those of you that aren't graduating, let's get back up here again next year. Congratulations. You guys can go back and sit down, but if you could stay, we do want to get a picture at the end. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on with North. Jeremy Mosier couldn't be here tonight, so I will go ahead and go through those awards for them. So any North athletes? I know I saw a couple. If you could step up here, that would be great. And coaches, feel free as well. We'll kind of have the same format as Kevin did. We'll start with the fall. They had a very respectable fall. We'll start with football. They finished 2nd place in the district, just missing the playoffs. Coach Height's building a strong program. He's with us today. As well as he had 3 first-team all-district performers in a pretty tough district this year. So we did have Kaz Rabarchik, who's already at UNI in spring football, participating there. And we have Kenny Purnell, who is at a track meet currently. And then we have Cunell Burridge, if he'd step forward, as our first team all-district selection. And just a quick story about Cunell. I was at one of his first football games. He caught a little screen pass, and my wife asked me a question, and I turned around, and he was in the end zone. So he's that fast. So great job, Cunell. We also had a cross-country performer, and we have Coach Lundeen here. J.C. Newsey is a second year. He's only a sophomore, been there 2 times in cross-country. It's fun to see him out there run. He's got a bright future. He's state qualified for us, and hopefully he'll be out there the next 2 years and keep climbing up the ladder. Girls wrestling, we do have a district team for girls wrestling that's combined, but we did have 2 that qualified for state this year. They were both North students, so we included them here, and that's J.C. Mason and Hannah Park. Both of them won a couple matches out there, and we thought we'd get them to the podium, and like wrestling, things can turn in a second. So they battled pretty well, and we're very proud of them. We also had 2 boys that qualified for the state tournament in wrestling, and that's Max Smith and Braden Richardson. And kind of a commonplace at North, our bowling teams had an outstanding winter season. We'll start with the girls. The girls team won the MAC Conference Tournament, and Trinity Flower represented the North at the state meet. And Coach Edwards, Jan Edwards, is with us as well. Our boys, we had one qualify and one first team. Jaden Demers earned first team all conference. And Colton Dirks was a state qualifier. The last group that I'd like to honor is our girls basketball team. A lot of them are still playing AAU, different sports. They weren't able to be here. Third straight trip to the state tournament. Unfortunately, the injury bug bit them again this year, 2 years in a row. They competed very hard. They still had 19 wins, and they still made their appearance. So they've done an outstanding job of building a solid culture and program. And it's really led. I added the team members, but I wanted to make sure I highlighted two that have been outstanding individuals at North High, not just on the court, but in the hallways, their presence in sending them to the feeder schools and being very generous with their time before and after games. And that's Journey Houston, go ahead, I'm sorry. Journey was first team all conference, all region, and all state. She will be playing at the University of Iowa next year. And then we have Divine Burridge. She signed at LSU, and she'll be playing down in Louisiana next year. She was first team all MAC, all region, and all state. And again, I can't emphasize enough how positive these young ladies are in the community wearing the North colors and being proud of who they are. So we can't thank them enough, and they really led this young team to the state tournament, and hopefully they can repeat that performance. I would like to say Coach Rucker is stepping down this year. He did a fantastic job with the program. He left it in a good spot, and he will be missed not only at North but throughout the state of Iowa in coaching. But as we know, coaching's a tough job. It takes a lot from your family. I appreciate all the coaches that were just up here from Central and North, because it is a sacrifice what you're doing. So we do appreciate you at every step. Thanks, guys. And make sure you stick around. We'll do a picture at the end. Rounding out our schools tonight, I'll ask Michelle Lillis to step up. Okay, we'll get in a second. I'm sorry. And I'll introduce Michelle Lillis to step up here and introduce her Falcons.
All righty. Falcons, take the floor, please. Come on up. As I said, thankfully, a lot of our kids are also involved in other sports and very busy this spring as well. So we don't have everyone here, but we have a great representation here in front of you. We'll start with football, coached by Coach Dominique Nunn. And our first team, actually it's all district, so my error up there, I apologize for that, but first team all district is Hunter Bennett. Can you step forward, Hunter? We had a state qualifier in boys bowling for Coach Andrea Brown, Landon Jacobson, and I don't think Landon's here. And for our girls basketball team and Coach Nathan Butin, Ellie Holdorf was named All-State Academic Team. She is the only one in the whole city of Davenport that got that honor, including Assumption and North and Central. So we are very proud of her, and that is what it takes to be on that all-academic team for basketball. So we're really proud of Ellie for that. Okay, our dance team, I do see a few of our dancers, and our wonderful head coach, Samantha Staley, new mother, by the way. Very proud of that. Happy to have her here with us. We'll start with Addison Alexiejczyk. Did I say that right, Addison? Yes. And she has earned an ISDTA senior scholarship. That was from the state organization for dance, and we're very proud of her for that. Congratulations. Other honors for that team is 9th place at state in palm routine, 8th place at state in temporary routine, 6th place in kick routine, 5th place at state in the mixed routine, and the ISDTA Distinguished Academic Award for the team with a cumulative GPA of 3.5 and better. So could you girls stand forward who are part of that team? All, and gentlemen, sorry, I apologize. That is, the whole team does consist of Addie iJAG, Peyton iJAG, Lucy Burnett, Gabby Fix, Addison Fowler, Sophie Fuller, Torrin Heritage, Madison Kangat, Gabriella Markham, Reagan Malloy, Ariana Plies, and Ainsley Plies. So congratulations to them. Our next team is our cheer team. Do we have some of those ladies and gentlemen present? You guys step forward for me. Congratulations to you guys. 2nd place in the co-ed cheer dance competition at state. So that great season for Coach Heather Corman. All the team members are Dominic Mater, Brianna Cantu, Erin Clinton, Gabriella Fix, Ariana Plies, Peyton iJAG, Kaylee Corman, Ava Kepke, Terriana Brown, Caden English, Cora Thomas, Lila Schaefer, Amari Cooper, Armani Neely, Madeline Bly, Kaylee Lee, and Elizabeth Lopez. Congratulations to all of you. Hopefully you all stick around and get the picture at the end with the rest of the athletes here tonight. And thank you so much. You guys are great to work with. Seniors, I will miss you so much. Thank you all.
One bowler that I neglected to introduce, and I apologize, we also had first team all-conference for Catherine Edwards. So from North. Thank you. Sorry about that. Now, Jan, if you could come back up, that would be great. Want to end tonight with two little special celebrations. The first one is the Coach of the Year for these for the fall-winter season, and we had 2 of them this year. We had one in the fall and one in the winter. And I'll start with Jan because she's here. Jan and I started 2009, right? She taught me a lot about bowling. From what I knew about bowling, it wasn't a whole lot, and she knew that. She was very patient with me as the athletic director. But when you win, it's easy to be patient. So Jan is extremely competitive. She's extremely empathetic. She is the definition of what a coach should be. She cares about her kids. She cares about winning. And when the kids understand and believe in you, they act and model that positive behavior. And that's what goes on with Jan. And we're very fortunate to have her. We've had great coaches in the district, but it's about time you got the recognition you deserve, Coach.
You.
Congratulations. Our second Coach of the Year, she was kind of mentioned somewhat with Kevin. She's at a track meet because she didn't get enough at Drake this weekend for 4 days. She needed to jump right back into it today to make sure her athletes are ready for conference and the state meet coming up. So she's at a track meet. I wish she was here. She deserves a ton of credit. Her first year as a cross-country coach, took the team to state, first time in 25 years. Only regret she probably has is people on her team, especially her daughter, are breaking her records that she held as an athlete at Central. So only negative that we have for her going forward. So she's another one that she gets kids to believe in themselves when they don't want to believe in themselves. And it's remarkable what can happen when kids believe and have that relationship and want to win for someone. And a lot of times she convinces that someone's themselves, and then they make a difference in their life. So congratulations, Coach Jan and Coach Wendy. They're fantastic coaches. The last celebration that we have, there's a lot that goes into run an athletic event. And as you know, if you're involved in it, it's the people you don't know who they are. It's the ones that are willing to do whatever it is it takes to make kids successful. And I'm not going to say a whole lot more. I'm going to let Michelle talk about our special recognition tonight. It's well deserved, and I'm excited for her.
Stand right up here. So, if you don't know, this is Miss Pat Sheehy. She's a fixture at West, has been for, as you can see, 51 years. Actually, I think we could say you've been around, would it be 55? Because I think you retired the year before I came, so we add 4 more to that. So technically, she's been in that building for 55 years. And as you can see, she is just a mainstay. We couldn't do what we do for our kids if it weren't for her. What she gives back to them still, even though she is not hired by anybody, she just walks in that building. We have study table at West. We have it 3 days a week. She's there 3 days a week. We have kids who will leave other study tables to go to be with Miss Sheehy because they know that she's going to help them, that she cares about them. The kids that she helps, they write college essays. They come to her. Can you read this for me? My own nephew, who doesn't even live anywhere near her, asked me if I could have her read that for him, and he's going into graduate school now. So, I mean, it's just amazing. She does every single game. If you come to any game, you'll see her. And don't try and get in if you don't have a pass. Okay. Make sure you're ready, because she's going to make sure that you are where you need to be. So she does everything. She does everything for us. She's there all the time. And I just can't thank her enough. And I really appreciate your patience in allowing us to take this time to honor such a special person for us. So we are grateful to Miss Pat Sheehy. Thank you.
And thank you to Davenport School System, to West High. The students at West are wonderful, and I will always love you. So, and I appreciate it every year I spent there. Thank you so much.
Again, I appreciate the time. I know we took quite a bit of time, but it's nice to have the athletes here. They deserve the credit, every one of them, including their parents that were able to show. So, athletes, if you could come back up, all come up. We'll get a group picture with the board. And thank you again.
do it? Sure.
I want to thank all of our coaches, student athletes for coming tonight. That was pretty incredible. We also want to recognize we have a whole nother presentation coming in June for our unified champions. That's going to be a really exciting night as well. So and spring. So I'm very excited to have that group of human beings coming back to a school board meeting at a later date. Thank you, President.
Once again, thank all of you, families for coming, students, coaches, thank you. Next up, we have a presentation on iJAG. Turn it over to Superintendent.
Thank you. As Lisa Baxter, and it looks like Breland Seifert, Principal Seifert, are make their way to the front. Yeah. Tonight we have a brief presentation on Iowa Jobs for America's Graduate, which is another one of our important pipelines to a career. It's a partnership that we have that really does a lot of excellent things for our students, showing them the different careers that are available and opportunities that they have. So Lisa, thank you for preparing this presentation and thank you for being here tonight. And Principal Seifert, thank you for joining us tonight too.
All right, good evening. iJAG stands for Iowa Jobs for America's Graduates. And Iowa is one of 37 states affiliated with this program, which is recognized by the National Dropout Prevention Center as a model program. iJAG's mission is to ensure that all our students are resilient and prepared with skills, purpose, and opportunities. Their motto is every student, no matter what. They do this by bridging the gap between school and employment through collaborative partnerships throughout our community. Their vision is to prepare our students to be future-ready leaders, and iJAG prides itself in a culture of care. So they're an organization that's not just concerned with grades and your future career, but also the whole student, the well-being, growth, and development of the stakeholders they work with. There are many iJAG programs in communities across our state. Data from their June 2024 annual report documented 174 programs, with the majority of these programs being at the high school level. iJAG is serving 74 communities across 50 counties, and last year's data reported that over 8,000 students were enrolled in iJAG. iJAG has a 96% graduation rate of students who participate in iJAG. iJAG is a nonprofit organization. Program expenses are kept low due to strong support from the state and private donors. The bottom of this slide, you can see a little pie chart, and half of the funding, or the blue part, comes from the state. And approximately 25% is funded by private donors and grants or other special contracts. That's represented in the black and teal. So the rest is made up by school funding, who end up funding approximately 25% of total expenses. And this averages out to a cost of around $1,800 per student. And you can see up there the large number of business and industries that support and believe in iJAG. iJAG's model is based on 7 essential constructs. The first is self-advocacy and conflict resolution, career readiness, self-development, technology skills, critical thinking and productivity, life skills, and the bullet that got chopped off is work-based learning. They are grounded in the 3 R's, the development of relationships, and by bringing relevance and rigor into the classroom. And they do this by mentoring and networking, worksite tours, apprenticeships, and on-the-job training opportunities. So to summarize, iJAG provides adult mentoring, academic support and guidance, and project and work-based learning experience. iJAG boasts outcomes of a 96% graduation rate across our state, improved attendance of its participants, and improved grades and class participation. And students enrolled in iJAG benefit from a nationally recognized program that engages local employers both inside and outside of the classroom. And lastly, students report an increased sense of direction and preparedness for their selected career pathway after participating in iJAG.
Hi there, I'm Bree Seifert. I'm the principal at Mid-City. And so you might ask yourself, who participates in iJAG? And many of our Davenport students participate within our iJAG program, and the goal is to engage in hands-on learning and then leadership development skills. The classes are composed of a diverse mix of students with the intention to connect school to work-based learning and career readiness. iJAG's for any student who wants to experience project-based learning and experience to help establish a career pathway and connect to those work-based opportunities. There's an additional layer of support for those students who are in need of help with their next step. iJAG specialists can create an environment to support students beyond graduation up to 12 months after graduation. Currently, our Davenport schools have 2 programs at Central for 9th and 10th graders, and then an 11th and 12th grade program, and the same as North and West, and then Mid-City has a program for 10th through 12th graders. Right now, at Central, North, and West, there's between 60 to 65 students being served, and at Mid-City, between 30 and 45. Our cost is about $25,000 per program, with a total operation cost of $90,000. And then this year, there's 327 students enrolled in an iJAG class, with 68 students using that 12-month from last year, that 12-month service with their iJAG specialist, which is giving us a total of 395 students in the iJAG sphere. Employer engagement so far this year, there's been 219 employer engagements with 35 work-based learning experiences and 22 job shadows. And then based on last year's seniors who participated in iJAG, there was a 97% graduation, with 63% going into the employment and 77% going into the full-time employment, and 35.3% going into continued education, and 92% of those students were using that 12 months of connected to their iJAG specialists.
So that, in a nutshell, is an overview of the iJAG program that we have in Davenport schools.
Are there any questions from the board?
You mentioned 60 to 65 students, and that cost per school is about $25,000. Is that a capped number of students, or does that go up if you get more enrollment?
They have a range. They give us a guideline in the MOU, which I believe you guys are signing tonight, that they like to keep that at. So we adhere to that number.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I like to see, you said that the state graduation rate was 96%, but we're at 97%, so proves that it's doing its job. Director Potts.
The last page you talk about connectivity is 92%. What's connectivity?
Connectivity. So after graduation, the iJAG education specialists stay in contact with students that were enrolled in the program for up to 12 months to help with that school to work or college or service, whatever that transition is, and they count that as connectivity, that's a student that they're still connected with.
Director Hayes.
For the few that are not included in the percentage, do we reach out to them or just let it be? We reach out to them.
I think there's a certain level of contact they're supposed to make, and sometimes they're out of state or they've gone past that, or they're not interested in the connectivity, but for the most part, they participate.
Anybody else? Thank you very much. That was very informative, and it's good to see that we're having success in the program. Next up, board reports. Anybody? I did attend the Young Artists at the Figge yesterday. It was nice to see their artwork and their recognition. I think it's a great program that Figgy does with Davenport schools. Director Poston.
Since last meeting, I attended the Amplify coaching at Bluegrass and Jefferson. And again, I want to give credit to our administrators for providing the support for this new curriculum. The teachers that I observed that were part of the pilot program that are now in their second year, you can see that they feel quite comfortable with the curriculum. First year teachers are getting the coaching that they need on the new curriculum, and it looks very positive.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Next up is public comment. The attached petitions, which I actually don't have them, but Brenda does, was received on April 14th, 2025, and its validity was confirmed. According to Iowa Code 279.8B, the board is required to receive public comments at its next regular meeting or within 30 days. We will receive comments tonight. Brenda, did we receive any written comments? Okay. The speakers who are here in person will be allowed 2 minutes to speak. You may not cede your time to another person. If anyone wants to speak about a topic other than this petition, you'll have that opportunity under open forum, which is the next agenda item. Please come to the podium when your name is read. State your name and address. And first up is James Hotchkiss. Did I say that right? Hopefully. If you push the button and the green light goes on, and you can just leave the green light on for the next person. So please state your name and address.
James Hotchkiss. My address is 4213 17th Avenue, Moline. You're going to say, why is a Moline person here? Because I work at one of the largest employers in the Quad Cities, and I've been very lucky to work with many, many of your students from iJAG to junior high to JA, and I helped to bring in the high school apprenticeship program when we started it a few years back with 6 of your students. I couldn't believe when I first started hearing this rumor that you guys were actually considering changing the schedules, shortening the hours, shortening the classes, that there's no possible way this will go far. Then I come tonight and I hear some of you read off your mission statements. You can't possibly believe those. Every one of your mission statements says, you'll hear what the students want, you'll hear what the community wants, and you'll hear what the stakeholders want. How many of those students, community members, and stakeholders have come to you and said, please shorten the classes, shorten the curriculum? I can't believe any of them would. There is no possible way you can have a CTE class in 45 minutes. There's no way that I can figure out you could have a history class, an art class, a chemistry class. By the time a student gets into your classes, and I spend a lot of time in your school, and I hope to continue to get to spend time in your schools, it's a good 5 minutes before attendance is taken, easily, and the teacher is in control of the class. By the time they get the equipment out, or whatever the lesson of the day is, that's going to eat up another 5 minutes. Then you got to have cleanup on the back end. You're going to lose 15 minutes of every class, whether it's a 90-minute class or a 45-minute class, to just that. Now let's tell those art students to hurry up. You have 30 minutes to paint your art, or whatever their art is. Auto shop, you have 30 minutes to get a tire on and off. Welding, you have 30 minutes to get your gear out, be safe, and weld the project. It's not going to happen. It's not going to keep students from dropping out. It's going to do the exact opposite. I myself, many years ago, only stayed in high school for a 2-hour auto shop class. I promise you, had they said it was a 45-minute class, I would have never stuck around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Corey Carter.
Hi, good to see you again. My name is Corey Carter. My address is 1601 Eagle Crest Avenue, Unit F2. At the last school board meeting, I submitted my petition regarding the 45-minute CTE classes. It is my hope that tonight you will act and protect the futures of some Davenport's most vulnerable students. It is my hope that tonight you will fulfill the mission of the place in those chairs and defend all Davenport kids and their right to an education they need. It is my hope tonight you will hold the people who tricked you and our community accountable for their actions. It is my hope tonight you realize you are not elected to be followers, to be sheep, but to be leaders of the district and the voices for parents and students. Before all this went down, I was on track to be an ag teacher. But I have to be honest, after seeing how easy it is for career administrators to discard what is best for kids, I don't think I want any part of this system. It seems corrupt. To this point, you have all been the last hope for Davenport kids. You didn't create this mess. You were tricked just like the rest of us. But after tonight, if you don't make it right, you own it. You will be condoning the behavior of the schedule change committee who misled you. Davenport parents and the community employers that have no clue this is happening. You will be the ones who assume blame because you know it is not right, and you failed to do anything about it. You keep saying we need to prepare students for real world. But what you're doing, you're robbing opportunities from all these kids over here. These opportunities were given to me, and I want these opportunities to be given to future generations. We need 85 minutes. 45 minutes is not enough to get anything done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Stephanie Dykman. They said Dykma. Sorry.
Stephanie Dykma, 6205 116th Street in Bluegrass, and I am here to discuss the same topic that Corey did. My comments tonight take a different perspective from it, though. They involve a topic that has been lost in the weeds or simply ignored. The safety of our students trying to operate in a 45-minute work session is a recipe for disaster. Anyone that has ever had a job working with their hands knows how dangerous rushing can be. People in this country die every day because people are in a hurry and then safety rules get ignored. These 45-minute classes for hands-on kids will embed the rush, rush, rush mentality into them. Seriously, I want you to consider next year and how you're going to feel when there's a serious accident, or heaven forbid, a fatality, in one of these classrooms because students simply don't have enough time and are trying to finish their work. You will be responsible. You will have to answer to their families. You will have to live the rest of your lives with the consequences of your choices. You have been warned that this is a bad idea. The liability of it is obvious. In your heart, how are you going to feel knowing that not only could you have prevented it, but you also helped cause it? Please think carefully about your vote and step up and do the right thing for our kids.
Thank you. Next up is Delaney. I'm sorry, I'm going to slaughter your last name. How do you say it? Thank you.
Delaney Gushanis, 1547 West High Street. Dear ladies and gentlemen of the Davenport Community School District School Board, I'm speaking to you today as a junior at Davenport West High School to express my deep concern about the new high school schedule for next year of 2025-2026. As someone who has been a part of this district for a while, this issue holds personal significance as I know the importance of CTE courses with helping students choose a career path upon graduation. Cutting down courses to 45 minutes a day instead of 90 significantly reduces the hands-on learning in CTE courses. According to Forst's Colleges and Industries, many skilled trade occupations are projected to see higher than average employment growth. Electricians are expected to see 6% increase, adding over 49,000 jobs. Trade school enrollment saw 4.9 increases between 2020 and 2023. The U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics forecasts that there will be approximately 73,500 job openings for electricians each year on average during the 2022 and 2023 period. By cutting down the number of minutes to 45 and turning terms into semesters, we are reducing the number of CTE courses that can be offered, thus not meeting the needs of our students who are interested in entering the trades. While some may argue that the schedule will increase graduation rates, we are eliminating more electives, therefore reducing the number of students going into trades. By returning the CTE courses back to 90 minutes, students will receive adequate instruction time with more exposure to trade-related occupations and additional opportunities for internships. I urge you to consider revising the schedule to accommodate 90-minute CTE courses by prioritizing the CTE courses. We ensure a brighter future for the next generation. Please take action on this vital issue by revising the bell schedule for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Michael Mitchell.
Hi, I'm Michael Mitchell, and my address is 2702 Emerald Court. I'm a junior at Davenport Central High School, and I participate in the CTE classes offered at Central. I am here today to voice my concern for the class time being offered for us, being rushed and working on projects, no time for us to work, and the safety of myself and others while being rushed to complete these tasks. I also want to advocate to keep our 4-block schedule. I think that the class time being offered is not sufficient enough for effective learning and work. Of the shop classes that I've been in, the first third of the class is used for taking attendance, instructions of what to do, and prepping for the activity. The middle third is used for doing the activity, and the last third is used for cleanup and review of what we learned. Overall, we use the full 90 minutes of class to complete our daily work. Cutting shop classes down to 45 minutes of time will not be effective for our learning environment. This means attendance, instruction time, and prepping will be 15 minutes. Our activity will only be 15 minutes, and our cleanup and review will only be 15. I'm going to use an auto shop reference to put a perspective on things for you. You're saying that we will have to complete an oil change for a car in 15 minutes or less. Not even car shops can do an oil change that fast, and they specialize in that. You're also saying that when we are taking apart an engine or welding, that we have to complete these things in 15 minutes, over the span of a week, an hour and 15 minutes. Whereas if we keep the 90-minute schedule, not only will we have more time, we will be able to effectively learn and make sure we are doing everything to the best of our abilities instead of being rushed. To move on to safety, we are to complete a task in 15 minutes with a class of 25 to 30 people with only one instructor. Who is to say that someone who needs help will get it in the 15-minute time frame? If it were me, if I had 15 minutes to do something, I would just try and do it myself because I wouldn't be able to reach the instructor and complete my work in the time span given, which in turn I could end up injured because we work with heavy and dangerous equipment all the time. What you are asking of the shop classes is physically impossible for learning. To add on to the 4-class scheduling that we are using now, you're not only helping the kids out for high school, but you're setting us up for college success. Colleges around the U.S. only offer 4 classes per semester. In each class, the length of it ranges anywhere from 90 minutes to 4 hours, according to the College Raptor, a website known for informing students on what college is like and offering financial advice for students. Knowing that in college you only have 4 classes like high school is a big relief to a lot of people, including myself. Offering 4 classes instead of 8 will also give more access to doing other classes like more math or science. With our current block scheduling, we can take up to 8 math classes while in high school, whereas if we had 8 classes, we will only ever, at the max, be able to do 4.
Thank you very much. Next up is Rob Ewald.
Thank you, Robbie Walt, 10386 130th Street, Davenport. Started this a long time ago, coming up here, and I hope that we get some answers tonight from you all. I think you were overpromised, underdelivered. What you voted on is not what is being brought out for these kids. I can't speak much better than what these youngsters are saying here. This program, what these kids are saying tonight shows you what this program is doing. It taught them to be leaders in the community and to stand up for what they feel is right. We need to go back to what we know and what works for these kids. And I hope we get some answers on things I brought up in the past, and I get to hear you guys on the record on where you stand. I hope that there is good discussion tonight amongst the board members about what is going on in this school district and to these kids. the lack of hours of instruction time because of transition that's going to be lost. I think we came up with about 90 hours for the school year for each student lost. I also would like to know, when we talk about transparency, our kids signed up and registered in December for classes that now are not there. We have not, as parents, been notified about that change. Where is this transparency that you guys talk about at every meeting? It is not there. What happens to these kids that are, socially disadvantaged or economically disadvantaged? These are the programs these kids need. They get leadership from those teachers in these CTE programs that make them a hell of a lot better students and members of our community. And you're trying to take that away from these kids. And again, somebody please answer, why does foreign language need to be a block schedule? There is no lab time. Are we showing preference to certain students? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Barry Von Blaircombe.
My name is Barry Van Blaircombe. I'm 4340 Cheyenne, Davenport, and I've got more than I can say in 2 minutes, so I'm going to do my best. I own an electrical contractor here in the Quad Cities. I am a graduate of the co-op program, trades program that was put on in 1971 for the Davenport schools. I had a guidance counselor in 11th grade tell me, you'll never amount to nothing if you don't go to college. I had a 7th grade teacher, electricity, Dale Terhune, told me, this is what you need to do. You're making a horrible mistake. You are a disservice to these kids. I'm passionate about this. I sit on the apprenticeship committee for the electricians local. I care about young people. They're our future. I'm 70 years old. My time is gone, but they're the future. We have a huge shortage of trades in this country. With that said, I guess, lost my phone here. There's been a problem with the schools, and it's a mindset problem. It's behind you on the wall. Academics, the arts, athletics, nothing about alternative education. You need to add another A to that wall. The wall says it all. There has been a disconnect from what these students need. There is a lowering graduation rate. You want to keep kids in school? Find something that they enjoy. Don't punish them. So I disagree with this block scheduling with these 45-minute classes. It's not fair. And as a contractor, they can't learn anything in 45 minutes. And the mindset, there needs to be a reboot. There really needs to be a huge reboot here. And I would be more than willing to sit down with a group of you and discuss this. I've tried for 30 years to talk to the school. I always get pushed off to subordinates. Administration and other people don't want to deal with it. They don't view alternative education as real life. So I'm going to get out of here with one sad fact. 4 years of college. To the answer, Mr. Ewald, why do you take foreign education? Because you have to do it if you want to go to college. The mindset is college, college, college. All of these students aren't ready for college. So what I want to say is this. In 4 years, you're going to go to college, you can become a teacher, right? Well, the sad fact is in 4.5 years, you can go through an apprenticeship and you can make 2.5 times the money a teacher makes. That's a sad fact. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Victoria. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
Victoria Gasky, 4135 South Utah Avenue, Davenport. A few meetings ago, the term used was catastrophic to describe what would if you postponed the block schedule until this cluster was figured out. It almost sounded like a core word because after that, the discussion fell silent. How come nobody asked him why it would be catastrophic? Where were you? Were you afraid there may not have been a good answer? Is what he says goes and nobody questions it? Because that's not how this is all supposed to work. Where were you afraid the answers might have been something else that needed to be hidden from the public? Back to the term catastrophic. How come nobody asked for who? We are talking about the future opportunities for these kids and comparing this, sorry, I lost my spot, this district to others that, quite frankly, suck in the CTE. Nobody is able to do what Davenport has done in the CTE. In these areas, no other district. So the term catastrophic was absolutely the right term to use for this.
Thank you. There will not be discussion or action on this tonight, so just so you understand that. We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Point of order.
Okay.
This is an agenda item, so why can't we discuss?
Well, if you want us to discuss it, I guess you certainly can.
You know, and again, I applaud your enthusiasm and everything, but just sitting here and holding signs, you know, that's not going to change a lot of things. But I do have some comments that I want to make. I've had phone calls from a gentleman from John Deere. The gentleman from Davenport Electric Company has called me and visited with him, and I appreciate your comments. What I want to see is I want to see more collaboration between administrators, staff, students, parents, industry. This CTE is a shining star for this district, but we can't let it go away. There are other schools that are going to jump on the bandwagon, and everyone knows CTE is the name of the game. It's not college anymore, it's CTE. What bothers me is, you know, how, as a board, how do we change this now? We're so deep into this. Part of the problem was that this was being implemented while it was still trying to be figured out. And that's what really bothers me. But as a board member, how disruptive are we going to be to the entire district? And again, that's not fair to CTE. But put yourself in our shoes. How are we going to handle that? I have a board request that will be read later on. And my board request is just what I alluded to. I want the CTE program to be put up on a pedestal, and I want to see the collaboration between all the groups I just mentioned, okay? What's not going to help is that we just keep badgering and badgering and badgering. What we need to do is we need to come together and figure out how we're going to do this. Okay? CTE is so important to me, and I appreciate your passion for what is going on here. So again, we're not going to do any good jumping up and down, hollering, hooting and hollering. We need to figure it out. And whether that comes to having 45-minute classes until we can figure it out, maybe that's what we're going to have to do. But let's think about down the road what we can do to make CTE better.
Thank you. Anybody else? Director Beck?
So with my understanding, we are not having action because we don't have this as an action item on the agenda. It has to be on the agenda. I did just want to clarify, it is my understanding that part of the reason we are having discussions in a phase 2 is because we received feedback. And for example, foreign language, students were going to miss a year. So they get 1 year of block and then it's phased into one period. Is that correct? After that, it's only 1 year that it's in a block schedule.
Correct. We didn't want to have any disruption to that world language when students had started that path.
Right.
So
It was
there's
a sequence,
1 year. It's
and we
a
needed
sequence,
people
and
to be able
it's-
to finish the sequence. So
they
for
will
1
finish.
year only,
Mhm.
it is going to be in a block, 1 year longer, and then it's phased into the standard schedule that we've been discussing.
So level 1 is year long, and then they will roll up to
Right.
level 2 and level 3 as year long.
Right. So I think I don't want people to think that we're trying to hide anything. We are here trying to get feedback, and we hear you. I hear you. I understand. But CTE is a broad range of things, and it is not just one class or one program. It can be any number of things. And so we have 14,000 students in this district, and we are trying to do the best for all of them, including you. No one up here wants to see CTE go away, wants to reduce it in any way, shape, or form. We are not getting rid of classes. We are not doing that. What we are doing is making adjustments that is in the best interest for our entire district, 14,000 students that we have to think about. This is not easy decisions to make, okay? And I agree with Director Poston that the best thing we can do now is work together to try and fix the situation in the future, because there are always headaches when things change. Nothing is ever perfect. You build a new house, you build a new building, you renovate it, something's not going to be where you thought it was going to be. That happens, and we are doing our best to try and figure it out. There are groups of people meeting. Everyone needs to come to the table and see how we can figure this out.
Thank you. Anybody else up here?
Just one other thing I'd like to add is when we've spent millions of dollars on curriculum, and well, we should. And we don't just dump that curriculum on the teachers. We have support for the teachers. We have coaching for the teachers. And again, when we talk about cutting class time, there again, this is just dumped on the teachers, on the staff. And again, we can't be doing that and just dumping it on the teachers with no support. And that's why, again, as I mentioned earlier, we need to support with staff members, the support of the staff members, but also support from administration, just like we're doing when we're coaching new curriculum at the elementary or junior high level. So I think it's so important that we interject as much energy as we can into this. And again, I know not everyone's going to be happy, but there's a problem and we need to solve it.
Just to clarify, when when they went to block scheduling, there was PD. How are you going to teach on a 90-minute block? They are having PD right now on how are you going to teach in 45 minutes. So we're not just dumping. Okay. So in the future, there will be continuing PD on this, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Going to be continued PD.
Thank you. I think we're okay with the board, and we are going to take a 5-minute break. Oh,
I'm gonna take a slightly different route what they're saying, but like the idea that we're gonna do a 2-part plan and we aren't gonna preemptively like do something, I think, and especially like, you know, we're acting like 1 year isn't that big of a deal, but like, you know, that's 1/4 of a high schooler's, you know, entire time. And I mean, man, juniors in this program are like really screwed right now. So hopefully, you guys, even if you guys can't change it right now, it needs to be fast, like the next year, like, you know, on it.
thank you. We'll take a 5-minute break. Thank you. We have one open forum request tonight. It is Karsten Hume. Thank you.
My name is Carson Hume, 1648 West 38th Street, Davenport. I'm a senior at Davenport West. I have been part of the CTE program since I was a freshman, and I now work with James Hotchkiss at John Deere. If you want an example of collaboration like you guys talked about, look downtown, down below Marquette Street by the river at Veterans Memorial Park. That is a project that they've been working on for 2 years and is still going on right now. We need these classes so that we can teach kids how to work like that more. I wasn't planning to speak tonight, but when I heard some of you guys' responses, I was really disappointed. I am really passionate about this. I've been working with Corey Carter, and these are classes that we need. If you cut down the class times, that could push our average down. West High School is above average in 2 things in the state of Iowa: our attendance rates and our career technical classes. If you cut down the class times, that'll cut down the attendance rates, and that will also cut down those career tech classes, which means West High School is basically screwed. We need these class times. We need the work. We need the experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is the consent agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam President,
Director Hayes,
I move the consent agenda be accepted as written.
is there a second? It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions about the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Committee reports, breaking barriers, Director Hayes.
Not this time.
Legislative advocacy, Director Poston.
Nothing at this time.
Local School Advisory Committee, Director Beck.
We had to reschedule our meeting for May 1st.
Long Range Facility Planning.
No report at this time.
Policy, we have a few on the agenda tonight. Recognition, still working on this committee. Finance, Director Poston.
We met last Thursday, and Kevin will be presenting some budget items after well.
Finance report. Kevin?
Ready? On the monthly fund report, to be the first one, there's really only 4 points I want to make on this for the end of March. This will put us 3 months from the end of the fiscal year. The first thing is, as a whole, this is what helps me understand exactly where we're going to end the year. I need to project 3 months, a little less than 3 months since we're mostly through April. So this is an important report for me to get the board to where we need to be for that budget amendment. The second point is, you'll notice there's a deficit balance in the current year. For March, remember, we receive about 50% of our property tax payment in the month of April. So when you see this report for the end of April, you're going to see that number flip to positive. So this is kind of a low point in our cash position. It also goes to the point of why we need to have enough cash to operate. Without the extra cash, then we wouldn't be able to meet payrolls and accounts payable, that kind of thing. On page 2, you'll notice I just want to make a note on other funds, Fund 30. That is our bond that we've been doing all these facility improvements. You can see that we have a balance of just about $60 million. That's going to start coming down really quick. And we'll be keeping tabs on that throughout the next year, 2 years, to see where that goes. The other is our debt service fund. You see the $7 million balance there. That is ramping up so we can make our bond payment at the end of the year. That's why that has a balance there. And the last point I want to make is in our internal service fund. That's where our self-insurance fund. You'll see that we have a negative cash flow of about 252,000. That's something just to watch. It's not an alert like something's wrong, but you'll notice we have over 23 million in that account. So we just need to make sure that we watch that. So if claims or something come in higher than normal, we're prepared. You'll see the change in the rate starting in July. So we're hoping that this will either stay minimal or go back positive. That's it for that one. On the key measures, you'll notice we're holding at about 20% UAB. That number is going to start to come down next year. It was projected to be about 20%. It's just a little bit higher of where the estimate is. And you'll see that our general fund authorized budget percent used is growing. We've been in the much lower 90s, and now we're getting up to 94, pushing 95%. This is that walk to the cliff. We're going to be hitting that next year when we have no new money, but we do have the additional salaries and benefits. And you'll see that the same is true. Our solvency's up in the 25% range, but when we spend the dollars, that solvency will come down. Lastly, the most important thing on page 2 of that report, this is where I was talking about needing to do a budget amendment. I'm working on that right now. You'll see those 4 categories is where we need to stay positive. Even though some of those are still in the black, that doesn't mean that we might need to do an amendment because that's really tight right now. When we do an amendment at the end of the month, a month from now, I still need time to put it in the paper, but a lot of this, the other is the spending that we're having in the capital projects. So this will, when we do the amendment, it has nothing to do with taxes. It has nothing to do with anything different, just to inform the public that this is where we anticipate to spend our dollars. And that concludes my report.
Director Barnes.
Kevin, you mentioned Fund 30, that it's going to move down quickly, and this was on the monthly fund report. Is the pacing on spending for capital projects against that bond as expected? I mean, is the pacing what you were anticipating?
I was anticipating to go a little bit faster.
Okay.
But it's going to pick it up. It's going to pick up really quick when we got 2 middle schools going. That's going to be interesting to see how far that goes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Kevin? Okay, thank you. Next up, items requiring action, 11.01. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Poston.
move the board adopt and certify the budget and tax levy rate for the 2025-26 fiscal year as published and presented. The proposed property tax levy rate per 1,000 taxable valuation will be 13.83173, and resources and requirements are estimated at $542,471,643.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any questions? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote. Director Barnes?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
Director Ward?
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carried. Could I have a motion on 11.02 fiscal year 2026 budget guarantee resolution?
Madam President,
Director Poston.
move the board of directors of the Davenport Community School District will levy property taxes for fiscal year 25-26 for the regular program budget adjustment as allowed under section 257.14 Code of Iowa.
Could I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Director Beck.
Kevin, can you just explain again what budget guarantee is
Yes.
in general?
When districts lose a larger percentage than what the state gives on their state supplemental aid, so for example, 2%, if districts decline by more than 1%, they're allowed to make up that difference in budget guarantee, and that is part of the tax rate. It is property taxes, but it allows us to spend those dollars. It gives us authority to spend those dollars. We were fully on budget guarantee this current school year. This budget guarantee, you'll notice it's $665,000. That's significantly less than last year. So it just depends on your count from year to year and what the state supplemental aid is.
Any other questions? Seeing none, again, this will be a roll call vote. Director Barnes,
Yes.
Director Beck,
Yes.
Director Hayes,
Yes.
Director Poston,
Yes.
Director Potts,
Yes.
Director Ward,
Yes.
and my vote is yes, motion carried. Next up is the 11.03 contract for Bray Architects for Phase 2 of Long Range Facility Planning. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Potts.
I move the board select Bray Architects to provide consulting and support for Phase 2 of the Long Range Facilities Plan for a total of $69,500.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, 11.04, termination of administrator contract. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Ward.
I move the board terminate the contract of Administrator James VC at the end of the 2024-2025 school year.
Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Okay, again, this will be a roll call vote. Director Barnes,
Yes.
Director Beck,
Yes.
Director Hayes,
Yes.
Director Poston,
Yes.
Director Potts,
Yes.
Director Ward,
Yes.
and my vote is yes. Motion carries. Next up is policies for board approval.
Madam President,
Director Beck,
I move the board approve the following policies: 206.03, 501.09, 503.09, 506.01, 600, 804.02, and 901.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? I would just like to say this is the first time that Symboli has been used to put these all together, and I like the fact that they're all on one continuous thread instead of clicking in and out. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion items, purchase freight truck for food and nutrition services. Superintendent.
Josh.
So the Food and Services Department has 5 delivery trucks. If you recall, some of you might recall, 3 years ago we purchased 3 of them to replace our box trucks. We have 2 older ones remaining. This would be one that we also are looking to replace as well. Recently just had some transmission issues, so kind of to the age and the point of wear and tear where we want to replace it. We got 2 local quotes, and Lindquist looks to be the lowest quote right now. But if you're wondering what they're used for, they're used for delivering food around the entire district.
Director Beck.
So you said we have 2 that are older. Is there a reason why we wouldn't replace both at the same time?
Yeah, just budget constraints. You know, we have only so much money to go around, so we're looking to spread it out a little bit.
Okay, and the other one's still functioning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, this will come up on the next regular board meeting. Superintendent report.
I'd like to highlight the hiring of Ellen Weishar at Williams Intermediate School. We are incredibly proud to have her as the next leader at Williams. She's got big shoes to fill, both literally and figuratively. Mr. Johnson is moving to Davenport North, and he's been an outstanding leader. She's been the assistant principal there. I remember the very first project we worked with Ellen on, and it was starting a summer school at Mid-City, and she knocked it out of the park. She's very detail-oriented. She gives her time, and she cares about students at Davenport schools. I think she's going to be an excellent leader for Williams Intermediate School. The second topic is I kind of wanted to talk about our phase 2 planning, which is very relevant tonight. I'm very proud of our students that came up and spoke, and our community members that spoke, our business partners that spoke, and I appreciate the tone and tenor that you have, Director Paustian. And I want everyone in this room and in this community to know that we are 100% committed to ensuring that our CTE programs are successful. And in order to do that, we're gonna make sure that the right voices are at the table, and we commit to that. And to start that off right after phase 1 was initiated, we immediately started a phase 2 planning committee. And I'd like to read the names that are on this phase 2 planning committee: Mike Orfatelli, Corey Williams, Andy Zen, Mike Vukovic, who is our current CTE specialist, but he's also going to be our program leader for the secondary, Shannon Buckley, Deborah Nimke, Brian Heller, Angela Reeves, Bree Seifert, who you saw tonight, Luana Anderson, Jessica Hankins, Marshall Calloway, Janae Cross, Michelle Burden, Holly English, John Flynn, Ben Driscoll, Willie Barney, Brianna Moshman, Diana Campbell, Tammy Esklund Nagel, Trina Hill, Michael Reese, and Kate Tubson. They've met 4 times, and they met today, actually. And I want to talk through, I want to just display, I want to read the notes, because this team is the answer to moving forward. This team's the answer to what you're talking about, the commitment that we're going to make. The schedulers, there's people on here, the assistant principals are our schedulers. They're the people that have to piece this master puzzle together. They're working on creating a sandbox to where they can begin practicing the scheduling for next year. To zoom out, there are many of our courses that are highly functioning on a 45, but there's some that we don't know that are going to be better on a 45 or a block. So here are some of the things that were talked about in today's meeting. The difference in pass rates. So we heard a lot of time. What are students not coming to class all those days? The different scope and sequence, which means when do we start, when do we end? Are we getting all of our material in on time? Which every single person in here said that we're really concerned about that. That was discussed today. Qualitative data from teachers and students. So your data that you shared today, I was incredibly proud of that. That was well researched, well said, well stated. Attendance and behavior comparison, smart pass data, enacted curriculum, the depth of our meetings, how can our teacher teams keep going? And that's just to name a few. And so I understand the passion that is in this, and I appreciate the passion, having some conversations in between this. And I know that the people in this district have faced tougher times than this, and we've come out shining before, and I know we will too. And we're never going to give up on our CTE programs. We're just not. And so we will figure this out. Those gentlemen in the back of that room back there are some of the smartest human beings I've ever worked with. I've ever had the pleasure to watch, teach, and do things like that. And we will figure it out. And so I know that this is difficult. I know that there's, no matter what we pick for our schedule, I know that someone's not going to be happy. And we commit to listening. That's one of the things that I heard: be a better listener, be a better report out. And we commit to doing that. And that's what I heard our community wants and expects from us. And we were going to do that. Your board report that you're talking about, all in. And I talked to, some people in the break, more than willing to do that. And so I know that we will be tougher and stronger on the other end of this. And so I'm very proud of this phase 2 planning component. Very few high school schedules get started now, because we want to be able to get people the information they need ahead of time. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Curriculum resource adoption update, Superintendent?
Yeah, one of the things that this agenda committee thought would be a good idea, every Friday, there's an administrative report, and one of the actions that came out of the open forums that have been here is, hey, let's beef up our administrative reports section, and let's just do a 5 to 10 minute thing that the board sees behind the scenes. And so that's something the agenda planning committee is going to institute under our new president, vice president leadership. So Diane, a 5 to 10 minute presentation on the curriculum adoptions that we have coming up. And some of them will be coming forth for approval.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me provide the curriculum resource adoption update. And there we go. So what we'll be covering this evening is just exploring the curriculum adoption process in the 7-year review cycle, and then provide an overview of the curriculum resources that are being reviewed and adopted for the upcoming school year. And I always like to anchor ourselves back into one of Marzano's quotes and works that has just been so relevant in our adoption process. And it's a continuous improvement process to really review that provides a systematic approach to the articulation of the content and the skills that we know we want for all students. So several years ago, Davenport was a leader in developing this adoption process using multiple different resources across the country. And every curriculum piece that we adopt, we go through these 6 phases to prepare. That's establishing a team, going into the research, what do we know that is current, and then how do we develop that plan for field test or pilot, getting that pilot going, and then phase 5 is the final selection of that resource or materials. And then phase 6 is the implementation and the communication of that adoption. So with that 6-phase process, we are very solid in all of our curriculum resources using each of those phases. What we also know is that we need to plan this out. And this says a 7-year, but ultimately we do have some that are on an 8 or 9-year cycle, depending on what the research says. But what we do promise is every pre-K-12 content course is on that at least 7-year cycle. We know that curriculum is that key lever to a meaningful learning experience, and that curriculum adoption is viewed as the holistic approach for our district goals, pedagogical shifts, and student-centered environments to ensure that guaranteed and viable curriculum for all students. So this 7-year cycle, we have this mapped out until I think it's 2030, so that we could tell you in 5 years what's up for review. Now it does shift a little bit depending on where we're at, but this we know includes every single course and every single content and every single grade level in the entire district. So just to kick us off too, really want to take a moment to pause and celebrate the recent curriculums adoptions that we have done in the past couple years. I'm not going to read each of these, but I'm very proud of the Learning and Results team and the work that they've done, not only going through that adoption process, but really getting these resources out, high quality resources to our teachers so that our students can benefit. And this again is pre-K-12. What we have coming up that you can look forward to is the board approval is needed for the 4 areas that are listed here: geometry, algebra 1, which is increased subscriptions, and then Pathfo Zello, which is our individual career and academic plan, and then the online platform. So those will be coming to you in a couple meetings. The other ones that we will be pursuing for this upcoming school year are listed on the right. And these are under that threshold of not needing board approval, but definitely want to make sure that you're aware that these are coming up. And this includes Read 180 for Mid-City, which is a reading intervention pilot. We also have our new course called the 9th grade seminar, and it uses a curriculum and a resource called SMARTS. We also have AP courses that will be updated, Math 180 Foundations of Algebra, keyboarding, and then annual subscriptions that we have every year that come through. The review and purchase of what we will be doing when school starts will kick off the year with each of these areas, which includes music, PE, science, science electives, social studies, ELA electives, and Algebra 2. And I think these electives are really important to highlight because they are courses that could generally kind of fall off the radar. And when we did an audit a couple years ago, we found that some of the curriculum resources were 20 years old. And many times it can be in these elective courses. So these are on that 7-year cycle so that the specific course is listed out so that we don't have anything that falls through the crack. Could we potentially hit a review and we find, you know what we're using is actually current and there hasn't been any changes based on research? We could, but that's still a time for us to take a look at the scope and sequence, to take a look at the pacing guides, and update our curriculum support documents. A lot of people ask, why is it a 7-year cycle? And what the research has said is that a 7-year cycle is needed because that's typically what happens with research. Within 7 years, we know more about that curricular area. Many times the standards have been modified or new ones have been adopted. So we want to make sure that we're in alignment with all the national and the state standards. Additional areas, anytime we adopt curriculum, we also know that there's professional learning that comes with that. So Amplify Professional Development, Letters PD Volume 2 will be coming to the board in May for those contracts, as well as the secondary ELA Professional Development for HMH into Lit, and then the middle school concept, looking at a contract with a speaker who will come in and do some work with us on middle school concept and the implementation of our middle school planning. And this last slide is an outline of where we've been in April, what we've purchased. In May 12th, we'll be coming to the board for those contract renewal or contract approvals. May 27th would be the approval process for those, and then fall purchasing those additional courses that we will be investigating, and depending on what the results are from our phase curriculum adoption process, those will be coming in the fall. And I would just like to take a moment and thank the board for all of the support and interest that you've had in the curriculum adoption, as well as the professional learning and the instruction that goes along with it. The buildings, we've loved having board members attend those visits, and it's been very helpful and insightful. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Director Hayes.
Diane, can you tell us why the Read 180 is for Mid-City only and not the other high schools?
Absolutely. It is one of the courses that we're looking at for an intervention, and so it is a pilot to get the materials and get it off the ground. We do have additional subscriptions for that that we can get going in the other buildings as we continue to grow that. That's a great question. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Anybody else? Question? Thank you very much. That was
Thank you.
very informative. Next up is a board request. Name of board member is Kent Poston. Date of request 4/28/25. Agenda item. I want administrators, CTE staff, and industry partners form a task force and review all areas of CTE. Starting in the fall, I want administrators in the classroom evaluating what needs to be done to fortify our CTE program. I want a report at the September 22nd meeting from administrators and staff. Why are you making this request? CTE needs to be expanded, but a plan needs to be in place. We have spent millions on curriculum. Why can't we be more supportive of CTE? Other schools are going to jump on the CTE bandwagon, and we need to continue to be a leader in this area. When would you like it? September 22nd. Could I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, so I will pass that along. Thank you. Board reflection, student board members.
I thought that this was a really cool meeting to just see members of our community come out and talk about what's important to them. It was a very inspiring to like see their passion, and I think it really motivates me to want to like make some change in what's happening. So I'm just really excited to see what you guys are gonna do to actually like change what's gonna happen. So yeah.
Thank you.
First of all, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm very thankful for like Corey Carter and Karsten and all the people who came to speak their opinion on the problem they have with what's coming. Because if people don't speak, nothing ever is going to change. If people don't argue, or not argue, but discuss an issue, there will be no change to what that they don't like. And so it's very encouraging and very, it's just mind changing that, even people my age, people younger than me can come and try to make a change. Whether or not it works, I don't know. But the fact that we have that opportunity in this country, that is good. And I'm just thankful to be here.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Well, when I came in here, I was like, wow, this is the most people I've ever seen in this building with all the sports players. And definitely good for them. The sports section of this meeting was pretty cool. And obviously, we had people come in and express their concern, and hopefully we get it all figured out.
Thank you. Director Barnes.
I have three things that I'll reflect on in this meeting. First and foremost, for a school district that has a fairly modest requirement in civics that includes, I think, a half the unit of U.S. government and a full unit of American history, we saw a master class in civic engagement. So there's a whole lot of learning that happens in this school district that doesn't happen in the classroom and during a 90-minute or a 45-minute period. And I'm incredibly proud of our students and community members. And it was very impressive. And I do really think of tonight's meeting as a masterclass in civic engagement, which is something that we should all be proud of. Second thing that I want to just mention is that I think that the pathway forward is for everybody involved to have a little humility as we think about the pathway forward in trying to figure out how we move from here to there in order to uplift CTE, but also uplift everybody and all 14,000 students in our school district, as Director Beck reminded us of. Last thing I would say is I remain supremely confident that we have the problem solvers and the creative people within our district to move forward in a positive and productive way. But I do think that it will require a little bit of humility, and that humility has to start here also as we think about our role as board members.
Thank you. Director Potts.
We need to do a better job of making sure we mean what we say and we say what we mean in a timely fashion, because people depend on that. They make decisions based on that, and there's been some slippage here, and that's we need to correct it. We can do that. I mean, we're not sinister people, We're not sitting here saying, "Oh God, I hate diesel smells, so we're gonna kill that." It's just that there's so many pieces on the chessboard that sometimes we lose track of some pieces that really are more important than other pieces, and then we can say that some things we do in schools is more important than other things we do at school. That's a fact.
Thank you. Director Poston.
Again, congratulations to our athletes that participated in all the different sports. Extremely proud of their participation. It's one area that I think we continue to need more students that are participating in the extracurricular activities. And then I want to thank all the people that's came tonight to express their opinions on our CTE program. And as far as I'm concerned, we as a board totally screwed up. And it's going to be hard to fix and get it turned around. But we will work hard at it and we will try to accomplish it.
Thank you. Director Hayes.
I would actually provide a ditto to both Director Poston and Potts' comments. I appreciate the open forum, especially from the students that are in the classroom. We're not there and we have no idea what happens in the classroom, the time it takes, or any of that. And again, you know, like Director Poston said, that's certainly something that we did not take into consideration. I enjoyed the athletic recognitions for all the students that work so hard to place in state events. And thank you to Diane and her team for the curriculum update. It's nice to know the schedule that you have set out for it.
Director Ward.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to extend another congratulations to the athletes and a special shout out to the state champions, the dance team from Central and Coach Flynn, and the iJAG report of the 97% graduation rate, or 96%. I think that's just a really important program to continue through the schools. And appreciate the public showing up, students, teachers, professionals that are impacted by the CTE. We hear you, and I appreciate getting some things moving forward with this. So I think that's it for me.
Director Beck.
Yeah, I always appreciate the athletics recognition. This is something we don't get to do very often, but it's always nice to find out or to be able to recognize those students, even if they can't be here, and our incredible coaches. You know, especially we don't get to recognize them very often. The second one is, I think for me, the biggest highlight has just been the opportunity to, I'm not sure what that was, the opportunity to see our processes in action. And I know I've said that before, but I think one of the highlights was somebody looked at what are the options for bringing something to the attention of the school board, and they figured out that, or they read the law and said, if I get this many signatures on a petition, it has to be added to the agenda for discussion, so people will have to hear us. And I think that is that's not something I've ever seen before in my time as a board member, and I'm really impressed with that. That was a lot of work that went into that, and it reflects on people's passion. And as I said before, the other thing that I'm reminded of is that every single person in this room wants what's best for the students in the Davenport schools and are committed to doing that. So that's it.
Thank you. Superintendent Schneckloff.
The athletics is so inspiring to me, to be in the presence of a state champion. A state championship's an award no one can ever take from you, and you're number one. All conference, all district, all everything. There's a picture of our dancer. There's a picture of that dancer head high doing the splits at this competition, and it's mind-boggling. I mean, the students that we have are so impressive, and so to be highlighted, to be seen is incredible. I'm very proud of that. I mean, how many districts have two kids on the same team going to LSU? And I mean, just Kim Mulkey was at North's Gym not too long ago. It's just incredibly impressive. And the second celebration for me is tonight does nothing more than motivate me. It does nothing more than make me want to do the things that this community wants, and that's the exact same thing that our team feels. And so we know where we are, we know where we're going, and we're going to move forward that way. And I'm extremely motivated to ensure that happens. And so that's where everyone over there sits, and that's what we're going to do moving forward.
Thank you. For me, I also am impressed that the process was followed to get on the agenda and that you spoke so passionately about CTE, which is very important. So I appreciate that. iJAG, that we had 97% graduation rate, that is our goal, to get kids through school, whichever career path they're going to take. And the athletics, it seems like every year it just grows and grows, the number being recognized, and that is impressive. So I appreciate that. With that being said, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.
I got the wrong set of twins. No.